Thanks for tuning in to the month of April and all my favorite wines. Now, we don't have football going on right now, but there are other sports happening. And the sport that I'm most interested in right now is the NBA playoffs. Also, the NHL playoffs are happening. NBA and NHL kind of run parallel seasons. They both have 82 games in their playoffs are at the same time. Full disclosure, I don't watch hockey, so I literally have nothing that I can provide about the NHL. I just know what games are happening because at the end of the NBA games, they mention, oh, this NHL game is happening tomorrow or also happened today. But it's the NFL NBA playoffs, and I'm super excited because my hometown team, the Golden State Warriors, is in the playoffs, and they're playing the Houston Rockets. They managed to win their first game, and they have another game coming up, and I'm hoping that they're going to be able to use their experience and a lot of great shooting from Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry to get past the youth and inexperience of the Houston Rockets. But the Rockets were good all season, so it's really not going to be a cakewalk. They're going to have to put in a lot of work. Also, there are some other matchups that are kind of worth note, and I want to mention them too. There is the matchup between Indiana and Milwaukee, and honest to God, if Milwaukee doesn't get it together, they're like 0-2 right now. And while I did see Indiana a handful of times during the regular season and was like, hey, they're a pretty decent team, I did not think that Milwaukee would crumble under the weight of Indiana. There's no way I thought Indiana was as good as they are turning out to be. There's also the Laker and Minnesota series. And basically, I hate the Lakers, so I just want to see them lose. I mean, it doesn't matter who they lose to, but I most definitely want to see them lose. And right now, the series is tied at 1-1. But Minnesota better get it together or else the Lakers are going to figure it out and wind up winning. Then there's some games that it's like, who cares about this? I'm looking at you, Orlando versus Boston. I'm also wondering about Detroit versus the New York Knicks. Who's interested? I'm not. But if these games are on and I'm already home and not doing anything else, I guess I'll watch them. I mean, that is how I watch the games over the weekend. But enough about that. Let's talk about one of my favorite wines. So the wine that I want to talk about this time is something that might be a little bit of a surprise to people. It is a wine that I'm sure everyone is familiar with, rosé. But the main difference is most Americans are getting their rosé from Provence, France. And while rosés from Provence, France are very enjoyable, there are many enjoyable ones, it is not my favorite place to get rosé from. I like to get my rosé from a place called Tavel, and that is spelled Tavel. And Tavel is in the southern Rhone Valley. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I love wines from the Rhone Valley. And so this makes 100% sense that I would also be getting a rosé from the same area. Now, because it is from the Rhone Valley, this rosé features two of the grapes that occur in the Rhone Valley, and that is Grenache and Syrah. And let me just show you this beautiful bottle. So this beautiful bottle, if you take a look here, is the wine that I've been drinking and enjoying and is one of my favorites. And it is 10.5 degrees, as it has the degrees here. And the title is La Folie Safranier. And it is from Tavel, but it also is secondarily located from Mediterranean, which is here also. So let's kind of get into the locations. Tavel is about this big. It's a small area in the southern Rhone Valley. Mediterranean is like this big, so we're kind of going to a bigger space, which means there's a lot more flexibility. And Mediterranean covers Provence, Tavel, and even Corsica, which is the island off of the coast of France. Now, this particular wine is something that is called IGP. In Europe, there is a classification system, and most of the wines that I have shown you from Europe tend to be AOC, which is Appellation d'Origine Contrôlée. And what that means is that there is a panel of people that set the standard for what a wine from this particular kind of area should taste like. So if your wine is coming from Tavel, there is a group of people that says wines from Tavel include these kind of grapes, have this much percentage, or of this level, and so on. This particular wine that I'm having is not AOC. I'm having the one below that, and that is called IGP. And IGP means Indication Geographic Protectee. And much like AOC, it has people who are setting the standard, but there's a little more flexibility there. They are not quite as rigid with the ratings, but still very focused on getting the best wine, because there are wineries that could be in the same area that you have to apply for this rating, and so you can be denied. All right, just so you know, like, just because you're in the neighborhood next to somebody who's got AOC or IGP, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get it also. And then below that, there is a third level, and those are called Vin de France. Basically wine of France. So if you are living in a village that makes wine, you might just have like a local wine that the people make, and I don't want to say it's a free for all, but there's decidedly almost no rules. And those wines never come to the US. And it's very rare for IGP to come to the US. But when I was in the Rhone Valley 3 years ago, I met a winemaker named Claude. He was interested in getting his wines in the US. So he gave me a couple samples, and that included this beautiful bottle right here. And he said to me that he wanted to make a beautiful wine that was comparable to perfume. So it has a beautiful bottle. It also has a very lovely box that it comes in. And you'll see this right here. It is also a very beautiful box. And if you don't know the wine, which oftentimes people are running into wines they're not familiar with, myself included, you're kind of looking at the packaging to be like, let me go with the best packaging. And so here's a situation where you have beautiful packaging and it's a decent price. This bottle is about $25. And so it's like, you should chance it. Let's talk even more about the wine. Let's get into the specifics of this glass. So if you look right here, you'll see it has a beautiful salmon color. And right away, when I hit it on my nose, I'm getting strawberries, white peach, black pepper. On the tongue, it has kind of a sweet start, and then you're getting some low acidity, and that is followed by a taste of raspberries and also cranberry and salinity and a little bit of minerality. It is like a really easy drinker. It's super enjoyable, and I can't recommend it enough. Now, as I'm going to be watching games and drinking this wine, what am I going to have to eat? Well, for me, I'm going to go with something that I absolutely love when I'm watching sporting events. Chicken wings. These chicken wings will be so great with this wine, because this wine has the ability to cut through the friedness of chicken wings, and even if you don't have fried chicken wings, if you have baked ones, it also will not be battling the sauces that you put on there to give you a terrible taste in your mouth. It is just like so enjoyable. I can't say enough. Now, it is difficult to get this wine in the US. I'm not importing this wine, but I did see on a website called Vivino that you can order it. It will wind up costing more than $25 though, because since it doesn't automatically come to the US through an importer, they will service the importer. So there are a lot of fees that you're going to need to pay to go along with that. But sometimes you want to treat yourself, and I think it's worthwhile. So let me show you the wine again. 10.5 degrees. It's kind of a low alcohol wine because the 10.5 degrees is also the alcohol level. And it's in this beautiful bottle. And I just want to say it is one of my absolute favorite wines. And I need to just get a big pile of money so I can start importing this wine because it's excellent. And to that, I'm going to say cheers and go Dubs.